Hey y'all, one of the most important things that every parent needs to think about when they're creating a estate plan is who's going to look after their minor children if something should happen to them. So today we're going to talk about 4 things that you need to think through when naming a guardian for your children. Check it out. What's up, y'all? My name is Uba, and I'm the founder of the Uba Law Group. We're a law firm that's here to help you protect your business and family legacy. And today we're going to break down 4 steps to naming a guardian for your kids. So before we get going, I just ask that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please share this information with somebody who needs to know this. Now, before we break down the steps into how to name a guardian for your children, it's really important to understand why we're talking about guardians in the first place. You know, in the event that something should happen to you, God forbid, if you don't have a guardian selected for your child, a judge who does not know you, who doesn't know what you're about or what you want to happen to your children, that judge is going to select who looks after your children. And if you don't have proper planning in place, then somebody that you do not want might be the person designated as your kid's guardian. So it's really important. And so when we're thinking of how do we select guardians for our children, we've broken it into 4 simple steps for this video. Now, hopefully these steps give you a greater idea of who that person or who these people should be. Now, the first thing that we want to talk about is competence. When you're looking for someone to be the guardian of your children, we always tell our clients to think about competence. Is this person equipped with the skills needed to take care of a child or to take care of children? So this is everything from financial stability. Or is this person someone who is good with money? Do they have the foundation in order to be able to resource your children? Obviously, there are ways that you are going to contribute and make sure that the resources aren't an issue, but you want to make sure that you have someone who is financially stable. On top of that, are they a generally responsible person? Do they take care of themselves, and do you trust them to take care of your children? Next, when it comes to issues of competency, do they have or can they easily obtain the type of living situation that would accommodate children? You wouldn't necessarily want to take a family of 3 or 4 children and designate as their guardian someone who's a bachelor who lives in a 1-bedroom apartment by themselves. Part of that competence and can they do it is, what does their situation look like? What type of reasonable skills has this person demonstrated during your lifetime that would give you confidence in their competence? So the next step to picking a guardian for your children is asking a question of capacity. Now, we talked about if someone has physical capacity, do they have the type of house set up for kids, but then also, do they have capacity in their life right now? Is this somebody who has an extremely demanding job and wouldn't necessarily have time to dedicate to taking care of your children? Or is this a person who might be going through challenges in their life that wouldn't really give them the capacity to handle children who are going through an extremely challenging and traumatic experience, having just lost their parents? Your capacity isn't necessarily just one category, but you need to think through, is this person equipped? Do they have the mindset? Do they have the ability to take on this big responsibility and make sure that your children are well provided for and well taken care of? So capacity is extremely important to think through. Next, we want to talk through the idea of core values. That's our 3rd step. Whoever you're choosing as guardians for your children would need to share core values that you have. So whether it be about work ethic, whether it be about education, whether it be about faith or religion, you ideally want to pick someone that shares these core values because you want those values to be instilled in your children. So if you are a family that's very big on faith and church and serving, you probably want to have someone who shares those values because those are going to be things that are instilled in your children. Or if you're a family that's really big on volunteering and giving back to a certain organization, you might want to choose someone who has those values in mind and who can pass on that legacy. Even if you aren't physically there, your legacy can still continue through your children by the person that you choose to name that guardian, who will pass on those traits and continue on the things that you did while you were here. All right, and last but not least, we want to talk about the idea of consent when it comes to naming guardians for your children. And now when I say consent, that might seem kind of strange or silly because obviously whoever that you name for your guardian would consent, but you would be surprised at the amount of people who find out that they were chosen to be guardian of children and maybe the parents didn't have a conversation with them while they were alive, or they didn't have a conversation for a very long time. They might have said it in passing years and years ago, but they did not know that these people were selected as guardians. So the idea of consent is extremely important because whoever is going to be the guardians of your children need to be aware of it, they need to be thinking through these things, and they need to have a conversation with them, of course, more than just one time, because it's going to be a continual process that's in place for your children's safety, well-being, and protection. Now, along with the idea of consent comes the question of whether you want a single person to be guardian of your children or whether you want a couple to be guardian of your children, two people. And the reason why that's important is even if you have a single person who's married that you designate, perhaps you only want them to serve as a guardian while they're married, or perhaps you're entirely fine for them to serve as a guardian even if they're not married. However that is, it's extremely important that you think through that and you state that specifically, because that's going to dictate what happens. Should there be a death? Should there be a divorce? Should whatever situation occur? It's extremely important that those wishes are thought through and that they're clearly communicated so that your children can be taken care of in the way that you desire. Now, obviously, there are a whole lot of other considerations that you can think through when naming guardians for your children, but I want to lay out a framework that you can use to write down a list of potential people and make sure that they have the traits that you're looking for when it comes to the precious parts of your family that are your children. So once again, please think through this. If you have any questions, or if you're looking to just get a will or a trust or any estate planning documents created in the first place, please feel free to reach out to us. We've got information, we've got videos on our channel, we have a lot of information that we post on social media. So if you're looking for help with this and you're in the state of Texas, please feel free to reach out. We'd be more than happy to help you. So until the next video, I know I usually say keep on grinding and keep on hustling, but make sure that while you're grinding and hustling, you work smart so you don't have to work that hard. I'll see y'all later. Peace.